Hello! In this video I would like to talk about UFOs, UAPs, and I'm going to share with you my opinion why I don't think that these UAPs are some secret technology that the US government developed maybe 80 years ago, and why I think there is something more about this. I am not a scientist, I am not the insider, all of this is my opinion, but I think that if you are someone who is paying attention to this topic, you know that something is going on. You know, there are many other conspiracies and I do not want to go to them, but these UFOs, UAPs, it's no longer a conspiracy in my opinion, because when you have all of these whistleblowers like David Grush, Ryan Graves, and many more, you know that something is going on. And in my opinion, I may be wrong, but in my opinion, based on these testimonies before Congress and many people saying the same thing, I am almost sure that US government and maybe some other governments, they really have this crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. You know, because if so many whistleblowers are saying the same thing, there is probably something about it. But I think there is an option. I don't think that this is a big possibility, but there is a possibility that they indeed have a crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, but it may not be aliens, it may not be non-human technology, it may be something that they developed maybe 80 years ago, and right now they are pretending that it is alien, technology, and people who are working on these programs believe that it is alien technology, but in reality they are just, trying to get some scientists and tell them that try to reverse engineer this craft just to see if they can figure something new or something. So I strongly believe that they have these programs based on all of these whistleblowers, and I would say, because there is so many people and it's going on and on, that I would guess it's probably aliens or non-human, but I am open-minded to the possibility that they have these programs, but they are just, saying to people that they are reverse engineering aliens craft, even though they are reverse engineering something that they developed 80 years ago. But I would like to share with you why I don't believe it is US technology and why I think that there is something more. Imagine that it is aliens or it is non-human, whether it's from other planet, from other timeline, other dimension, it doesn't really matter right now. But imagine that 80 years ago, some craft would crash or they would, somehow put it down or anything. If they could, they would keep it as a secret. If the media were there and there was no way to cover this, of course it would go public. But if they would have any chance to hide it, they would, And I think the main reason is that if you have that kind of technology, you can use it as a weapon, and also it can be used as a weapon against you. It can be used to protect you from other weapons, and so on. So I don't see, for me there is no way if US government would get to the technology and they would have an option to hide it, that they wouldn't hide it. I think that they would obviously hide it and try to study it, and they wouldn't want to tell about that to the foreign countries and so on. So yeah. And the second reason would be that you do not want mass hysteria, you do not want to, public can react in unpredictable ways. I have seen a video which said, and this is something which I didn't realize, that even if 10% of population would get this information like really bad, it would really affect them in a bad way, that's still 800 million people. So yeah. But what I want to say is that if it's aliens, they want to hide it, they want to study it, they want to study it as long as they can. Probably is not that easy to reverse engineering, so they need more time. They do not want public to know because of mass hysteria or unpredictable behavior that may happen. And the third reason, as time goes by, is that you have been lying, you are continuing to lie, and the longer the lie is, the harder it's admit that you have been lying. And probably they have killed people to protect this information, so it's even harder, and every year, every decade, it's even harder because now you need to, admit that you have the technology, you need to tell the public, and there may be, unexpected behavior from this information. You have to admit that you have been lying, you have to admit that you have been killing people for this information, and also there is going to be a public reaction on the information itself and on the fact that you have been lying and possibly murdering people for this information. And obviously you do not want this to go public that easily. But imagine right now that this is technology that US government developed on its own 80 years ago. If that would be the case, I would probably expect to have it public yet, because if it's their own technology, they still want to protect the information because it can be used as a weapon, against them, or they can use it as a weapon, they can use it as a protection from some kind of weapons. But there are layers missing which are only there if there is aliens, Because if it's their own technology, there is not going to be any public hysteria, We already have nuclear bombs, so if someone is going to have something even stronger, like we can destroy humans with nuclear bombs, so I don't think people are going to have hysteria just because they developed something stronger, or also, they do not have to worry about the lying because it is their job. If they have developed it and it's not aliens, it's not like non-human, it's just the technology they secretly developed, they didn't lie. Then they lied, but it's their job. It's their job to have secret programs. It's their job to have aircrafts which are, trying different propulsions and so on. So what I am trying to say is that there is no reason to have public hysteria if it's US technology. There is no layer of 80 years of lying and murdering people. They might have murdered people even for this information, but for alien technology, I would guess they are going to be way more protective. But what I am trying to say is that if it's US technology, I think that by, after 80 years, it would already go public. They wouldn't be holding on it as much as they are right now if it was just their technology, And as I said, if it's alien technology, you have to deal with the fact that, public hysteria. You have to deal with the fact that probably they didn't reverse engineer it completely. They are still missing informations which foreign governments can, somehow learn or something. And they have been lying for 80 years, murdering people for protecting the information. So I think that if it's aliens, the need to hide the information is way bigger than if it's just the technology they developed on their own 80 years ago. So yeah, this would be my argument why I would say that it's not their technology. It may be, but without being someone who believes in conspiracies or something, when so many people are saying the same story and it goes on and on and on, one have to admit that probably it's not human, But yeah, this is just my opinion. I do not know for sure. I just think, what I think, and yeah. So yeah, this is it. Thank you. Take care.